Hello, everyone. It's that time of year again. As a lot of you who watch the channel know, I like to do a movie marathon when it comes to spooky season. And this year I let you guys vote. And what you decided was the Saw series. So we're going to be checking that out today. We're going to watch as many of them as we possibly can. The Saw series is not my favorite series. I don't dislike it by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not like Friday the 13th or Halloween for me. And I haven't revisited it in a while. So I'm looking forward to checking it out again and seeing how I feel about all the different movies and seeing how they connect together and seeing how much I enjoy them, especially watching them back to back to back. I don't know that I'll get through all 10 of the movies because despite what this says, is more than seven. But especially with the new one out that it just came out, Saw 10. I just saw that in the theaters very recently. As the time of this recording, it's in theaters. So I'm not sure how many we'll get through, but we're going to get through as many as we can, and we'll talk about them. So here we go. Okay, we just finished part one. It's still a classic movie. I really liked the first Saw. I remember seeing it. It kind of came out of nowhere and just really took everybody by surprise at how good it is. And it holds up. It's still really, really good. Solid cast. Even Lee Winnell, who wasn't as famous as everybody else at the time and arguably still isn't, still really good in that movie. It's just a really good cast. Like the one thing though is, it's a great ending. It's a great twist, surprise ending, but why? Like, why this twist? Why is Jigsaw hanging out there? And you find out in subsequent movies he's not doing that for anybody else. Why, other than for the benefit of a surprise to the audience? Why is he hanging there for hours pretending to be dead? What to do nothing, just to stand up and kind of go psych. Like it's just kind of weird. That's the thing I noticed today watching this one is I don't know why there's that surprise, but otherwise, great movie, man. Let's press on. Let's not watch the next one. Okay, that's two down. And a little bit about me. I'm unironically a New Kids on the Block fan. So seeing Donnie Wahlberg is a welcome thing. Even though, side note, I just recently watched the show Blue Bloods for the first time, and it's awful, awful, awful show. Donnie Wahlberg notwithstanding, but seeing him is a good thing. So I'm predisposed to like this movie just because he's in it, and it is good. I do like it. I think the twist here is really good. I think that you're starting to see the seams though of where the series goes wrong because you now already got a cast of people that are unlikable and not redeemed and kind of caricature-y. So already you've seen some of the seams, but so far it's still really good. Tobin Bell is good in this one. The twist is good. Shawnee Smith, I'm not quite sure. It makes a lot of sense where she's there. Like I think it's good that she's there to kind of lead people through the traps, but some of the things are out of her control. So things have to really go exactly right for this to make sense, and that's going to be a problem for the series as it goes on. I know that, but I do like that there's still a Saw in Saw 2. Another thing that I think kind of falls apart as the series goes on. But yeah, I'm still in. I'm still in. I'm still good with this so far. So let's get into the next one. So thought three's done is good. I do like that they really focused on Shawnee Smith's character. I liked she got a chance to do something there that was a little more interesting. Bold move to end it the way they end it, and arguably one of the bigger mistakes of the franchise that they keep trying to rectify over and over again by not having Jigsaw live. But I did like that they had the balls to do it, frankly. So I like that. And I know there's a controversy about Jeff. So I can't remember if he comes up in the fourth one or not. So we're going to see about that. But there was still a saw used. There was still a saw used in this one. So far we're still good on that point. But we are really getting to the point now where they start to play with the timelines. And I remember thinking that was a lot of fun in this one, and I still do. But I know that as it goes on, the timelines get really wonky and hard to follow. So I'm buckling up and seeing how it's gonna go from here on out. So, on to number 4. All right, we're in the thick of it now. We're in the thick of the post Jigsaw death movies where it does start to feel like a slog, man. Like Hoffman is just not as compelling of a villain, and I know Jigsaw pops up in the flashbacks, and that's the best parts of the movie. Like, seeing like the old traps being revisited and set up and everything. That's the best part of the movie. The stuff with the new people, the crowd of people that are being tortured. The traps are actually kind of cool, but the characters are just boring. Nobody cares. And then the big reveal of how they're all connected doesn't really. resonate. And again, Hoffman is not as interesting as Jigsaw. So this is where them killing Jigsaw off so early really hurt the franchise. And I know it's going to get worse before it gets better. So we plot on, we soldier on. All right, we're in the thick of it now. We're in the thick of the post Jigsaw death movies where it does start to feel like a slog, man. Like Hoffman is just not as compelling of a villain, and I know Jigsaw pops up in the flashbacks, and that's the best parts of the movie. Like, seeing like the old traps being revisited and set up and everything. That's the best part of the movie. The stuff with the new people, the crowd of people that are being tortured. The traps are actually kind of cool, but the characters are just boring. Nobody cares, and then the big reveal of how they're all connected doesn't really resonate. And again, Hoffman is not as interesting as Jigsaw. So this is where them killing Jigsaw off so early really hurt the franchise. And I know it's going to get worse before it gets better. So we plot on, we soldier on. All right, part six is done. And yeah, man, I don't like that movie. All I could remember about it beforehand was that I didn't really like this one. And after watching it, it's easy to see why. It's very forgettable. It's easy to see why I don't remember anything about it because it's forgettable and not very good. Really, the whole Hoffman replacing Jigsaw thing is a big problem at this point. And they're trying to bring in Jill to be a secondary villain, and she doesn't really work very well either. And I kind of hate that they had to do that in order to keep this whole mess going at this point. Um, the the whole thing with having victims that are like kind of evil or bad. I remember that happens at some point in the franchise that it's more like revenge and you have like these bad villains. These bad people that are being victimized. And I thought that was like kind of a clever thing to show that Hoffman was the person doing it now because he had like a different motivation than Jigsaw. But no, this movie says that it was Jigsaw's last plan. And first of all, if it's his final plan, it feels like it should have a more of a meaning to it, a little bit more notorious or meaningful instead of just some random insurance company thing. So that's disappointing, and also it just really just kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. Like you really don't care if these people die. In fact, you kind of want them to die, and I guess it starts to go down towards the path of making Jigsaw kind of like this hero, which if we get to Saw 10 kind of explains a little bit where I felt like that one had a bit of an issue. So this one's just it's dull. The traps aren't very imaginative, very interesting. It's not a whole lot going on for this one. I mean, look, it puts Sebastian to sleep, so not that he's the best barometer because he falls asleep pretty easily. But we're gonna keep going. Now we're gonna go through Saw 7, which I don't remember liking that much either. But let's see if that holds true. All right, fellow young people, we just finished Saw 7, aka Saw 3D, aka Saw the Final Chapter. This one's not good either, but I do think I like it better than 6 because at least it's got Dread Pirate Roberts coming back into it. They don't use him nearly enough in the movie. They don't use Tobin Bell enough in the movie, which is a problem, obviously, that we've been talking about because Hoffman's just not that compelling. Some of the traps are better in this one, and again, we've got a group of victims that we don't cared much about, but at least the angle is a little bit more interesting with the Jigsaw survivors. I wish they would have done something a little bit more clever with that. Like maybe had a few of the other survivors that actually were real, like the ones that we had seen actually in other movies. Because a lot of the flashbacks in this one are just made up flashbacks that don't call back to things we've seen before, and it's Saw's at its best when you're seeing clips or callbacks to other movies. That's when it's fun, and it does a little bit of that at the end. The ending is good in this one, but there's too much of this that doesn't matter to me. And a lot of the acting is really bad. Like, very rarely do you see a great Saw acting. Like, the first movie, I think maybe, but everything else is just fine. This is the first one where I thought it was distractingly bad, especially the IA cop. Oof. But yeah, I still like it better than 6. Again, these are kind of the low points of the series. And I recall they get better after this, or I should say, I recall liking Jigsaw. And maybe it was only because Jigsaw came out so much later and wasn't being saturated with Saw movies that I liked him more. So we're going to watch it again and we're going to find out. Okay, it's getting late, but we're rallying because that one was good. I still like Jigsaw. I remember liking it the first time I saw it, and I still like it. I think it's kind of a back to basics Saw movie. You know, it reminds me a little bit more of Saw 2, where you've got these people that you don't really know what the connection is, and they all have to kind of try to work together, but they all don't trust each other. And some of the traps are really good in this one. Some of them are less good. And there's a bit of a mystery as to the identity of who's doing things. They work in Jigsaw really well. I wish there was more of them, obviously, but the way they work them in, I thought was very clever. I like the twist at the end, and yeah, this is a high ranking one for me. I actually like this one quite a bit, so I'm feeling pretty good. Good enough to go ahead and move on to Spiral. I was thinking I might tap out here because this is usually around where I tap out, but I think I've got one more in me, and I like Spiral more than most. I think a lot of people would probably tap out here, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick with it. So stay tuned. Okay, so I just finished Spiral, and yeah, I like that one probably better than a lot of people because I know it's not the most popular one. But I don't know. I think it's a good time. I know it's not the best Saw movie really because it's really more like a police thriller, but I like the idea of a police thriller set in the Saw universe and the Jigsaw universe. That's a cool idea to me, and I mean, it's not without its flaws. I mean, I like Chris Rock in the role. I like more when he's being funny, like Chris Rock. He's serious stuff. And the biggest problem, of course, is that the villain's just not very threatening. Like his jigsaw-y voice is terrible, not scary in the slightest. And even when you see the reveal on who it is, he's just I wish they would have picked a better villain. I really do. But other than that, like I enjoy it. I enjoy the mystery of it. I think it's good. So better than a couple of those later Saw movies that we watched today. Whew. But hey, I got through nine. I got through nine, which I think is breaking the record. I usually do around eight before I tap out. So I got nine in. I have seen Saw 10. It's in theaters as of the time of this recording, but I have seen, I saw about 2 weeks ago. So I've seen them all. And so stay tuned. I'll probably be talking about them a little bit more in a upcoming video. But tonight, I think I'll just say good night and game over.